Travel back in time with me to an era of immense wealth, sprawling trade routes, and legendary kings. Long before European ships reached its shores, West Africa was home to one of the most powerful and prosperous empires the world has ever known. This wasn't just a kingdom. It was a commercial powerhouse, a civilization built on gold and salt whose influence stretched across the vast Sahara Desert. Today we're uncovering the incredible story of the Ghana Empire. So where does our story begin? Let's set the scene. We're in West Africa, in a region nestled between the Senegal and Niger rivers, what is now modern-day southeastern Mauritania and western Mali. The empire's origins are a bit hazy, with historians piecing together the story from archaeological finds and ancient Arab travelogues. Most accounts suggest that around the 4th century AD, the Saninke people, a Mande-speaking group, began to unify. They established their capital at Kambi-Salai, a bustling twin city that would become the heart of their empire. The name Ghana is fascinating in itself. It wasn't actually the name of the empire. It was the title of its ruler, meaning warrior king. The empire itself was more accurately known by its people as Ouagadougou. But to the Arab merchants and scholars who traveled there, the king's title was so powerful, so synonymous with the land's wealth, that they simply called the entire region Ghana. Now you can't talk about the Ghana Empire without talking about gold. It was the bedrock of their economy, the source of their legendary wealth. The lands of Ouagadougou were strategically located near some of the richest gold fields in Africa. But here's the clever part. The Saninke people didn't control the gold mines directly. Instead, they acted as the ultimate middlemen. They controlled the trade routes. All the gold coming from the south had to pass through their territory to reach the markets of North Africa and beyond. The great salt mines were located deep within the Sahara Desert in places like Tagaza. So a powerful trade dynamic was born. North African caravans, led by Berber traders, would brave the treacherous desert journey, their camels laden with massive slabs of salt, textiles, and manufactured goods. They would arrive in the markets of the Ghana Empire to trade their precious cargo for the even more precious gold dust from the south. It was often said that in Ghana, salt was worth its weight in gold, quite literally. This trans-Saharan trade was the engine of the empire. The Ghana, the warrior king, was a master of economics. He imposed a strict tax system on all goods entering and leaving his kingdom. Every donkey load of salt that came in was taxed. Every ounce of gold that went out was taxed. This system filled the royal coffers to overflowing and funded a powerful, well-equipped army. The king's control was absolute. He held a monopoly on all gold nuggets found in the empire. Only gold dust could be freely traded. This clever move kept the value of gold high and ensured the king's personal wealth was unparalleled. Imagine arriving at the capital, Kambi-Salai, in the 11th century. The city itself was a marvel of organization. It was actually two towns, several miles apart. One was the commercial center, a vibrant, cosmopolitan city filled with merchants from across the North African and Arab world. Mosques and stone houses crowded its streets, a testament to the influence of Islamic trade partners. The other town was the royal city. This was the exclusive domain of the king and his court. It was a sacred, traditional Saninke space, surrounded by a protective wall. Here, the king lived in a grand palace, and the city was dotted with the religious groves and temples of the Saninke faith. This separation allowed the empire to maintain its traditional beliefs and culture while simultaneously embracing the economic benefits of international trade. The descriptions of the king's court from travelers of the time are just breathtaking. The 11th century Arab geographer al-Bakri wrote of a king who would hold court adorned in gold necklaces and bracelets with a headdress of gold. His royal guards stood with gold-hilted swords and his dogs wore collars of gold and silver. When the king held an audience, he would be seated in a pavilion, around which stood 10 horses draped in gold-embroidered cloth. The sound of drums would announce his presence, signaling a time for his people to present their petitions and grievances. This wasn't just empty spectacle. It was a projection of power, a clear message to all visitors and subjects that the Ghana, the warrior king, was the master of this rich land. The Ghana Empire's military might was legendary. The king could reportedly field an army of 200,000 soldiers, including 40,000 archers. This massive force wasn't just for show. It protected the vital trade routes from bandits, enforced the king's tax laws, and expanded the empire's territory through conquest. Vassal states and surrounding tribes paid tribute to the Ghana, further adding to his wealth and solidifying his control over the entire region. For centuries, this system worked flawlessly, creating a stable and incredibly wealthy empire that was the envy of the known world. So if the Ghana Empire was so powerful, so rich, so well organized, what happened to it? Like all great empires, its decline was caused by a combination of factors, not a single event. One major pressure came from the north. The Almoravids, a zealous Berber dynasty from Morocco, launched an invasion in the late 11th century. While their direct control over the empire was brief, the conflict severely disrupted the crucial trans-Saharan trade routes. The fighting weakened the central authority of the Ghana and sowed instability across the region. Internal pressures were also mounting. As the central power weakened, many of the vassal states that had been paying tribute for generations saw an opportunity to break away and claim their independence. The empire began to fracture from within. And finally, environmental factors played a devastating role. Centuries of dense population, grazing, and farming had taken their toll on the land. A period of intense drought began to set in, turning once fertile grazing lands into barren desert. As the environment collapsed, so did the agricultural base that supported the empire's large population and armies. The final blow came not from an external invader, but from a former vassal. In the early 13th century, a rival kingdom, the Soso, rose to power under their king, Shumangoro Kante. The Soso conquered what was left of the weakened Ghana Empire, sacking the capital of Kambi Saleh around the year 1203. Although the legacy of Ouagadougou was temporarily eclipsed, its story doesn't end there. One of the states that rose from the ashes of the Ghana Empire was a small kingdom of the Malink people. Their leader, a legendary figure named Sundiata Keita, would eventually defeat the Soso and go on to found an even larger and wealthier empire, the Mali Empire, the subject of our next video. The Ghana Empire may have fallen, but its legacy is immense. It was the first of the great West African empires, setting the stage for Mali and Songhai that followed. It established the trans-Saharan trade network that would shape the culture, religion, and economics of the region for 1,000 years. It demonstrated a sophisticated system of governance, taxation, and military organization long before many other parts of the world. The story of the Ghana Empire is a powerful reminder of Africa's rich and complex history, a tale of wealth, power, and civilization that deserves to be told and remembered. It is a testament to the ingenuity and strength of the Sanink people who built a golden empire in the heart of West Africa. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the past. If you found this story as fascinating as I do, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into history. And don't forget to ring the notification bell so you won't miss our next episode on the incredible Mali Empire. See you next time.